Data is a great topic. Where does it come from? Is it enough? Does it tell the message? One country where we worked with the disaster early warning system. They were the funnel of data from all over the country, and it came in to feed the early warning system. And we tried to do an app development with them, a hackathon. We wanted to do a hackathon that gave the people in the room, our app developers, access to their data. They wouldn't share it. They didn't have a system to push those early warnings out other than, posts. They posted some sirens in different parts of the country, and they would come on the radio maybe oftentimes 12 to 24 hours too late. We were thinking, man, in that particular country at that time, there was 62% penetration of smartphones, 62%. So you could do a lot pushing information out to apps, if you had the right apps. And you could tailor it to unique geographies. You could do all these kinds of things. And we couldn't get the government, that agency, to share their data. The more I looked into it, the more I discovered it's a real problem within a government. Many agencies, Ministry of Environment or the Ministry of Public Works, responsible for irrigation systems, they have all kinds of data that they use for what they try to accomplish. But it's their data. They don't want to share it with others. They somehow think that by sharing their data, they're giving away their purpose for being. And that's the problem. Another problem is a lot of times these data sets don't interact well because they're designed differently. So there's not really uniform. I know in many countries there's kind of a movement to try to standardize data development in different ministries and make them linked and interoperable. But it's a real problem in many countries. They don't think that way, and many countries still, the government agencies still treat it like a fiefdom. I mean, this is one of the. A minute ago, I talked about political economy analysis. Well, I think when it comes to data, I think there's a similar level of dynamic that needs to be understood. Figure out where those weak points are, because data is everything to an app developer. If you don't have good data, it's like, I'm sure you've heard, garbage in, garbage out. You don't have enough to work with. So I think there has to be a really strong movement among app developers and the general population to really focus on sharing data, sharing good data, and maybe even critically look at data sets and understand, well, okay, we've got this information, we can do this much with it, but we want to do something else. What kind of data do we need? Who's the best agency for developing that data and making a case for it? I don't know how to do that, other than that's the way I would go about it. But it's an excellent question. You asked about then the development of apps and how apps can become the middleman or middle person. I think ultimately, if it's more efficient, results in some kind of reduction in resource waste, energy waste, and resource efficiency, then it's got to be a good thing. If it puts somebody out of a job, it's time to retrain that person to a green job, something new jobs. And that's, I think, one of the things you look at when you look at green growth or the transition. And when people say, oh, but all these jobs in the coal industry, I mean, Trump, he said, oh, yes, we're going to save these coal jobs. It's like, no, man, we need to find ways to train these individuals into a new line of work. We should be part of that solution. Our workforce is workforces have to evolve to keep up with the green economy. That's just a fact of life. If we don't, we fail. So any economy has to retool its critical resource humans so that we can be relevant, all of us in the economy, to make us a solution. So I guess the thing is, I wouldn't be afraid of putting somebody out of a job if that job's become obsolete, and it's time to rethink where that person should be in a green economy.